Okay, so again, we're talking about the power of small talk. And again, this may seem like meh, like not that exciting of a topic, and at its face value, it's probably not. But this story is it's a good one, and so I encourage you guys to share this with all of your small town love and live in friends, and then we can jam on this because I want you guys to comment as you listen as well. So coffeeed up. Hey, one thing, you guys, as we're talking about this, I would love to know. This is something that you guys can help me out with today. I would love to know your very favorite brand of insulated coffee mug for coffee in particular. Okay. I don't so much use these insulated mugs for cold beverages. I'm just like a coffee drinker. So I actually just earned this one. So you guys all know that I'm an affiliate for the Faster Way to Fat Loss. Their round starts again today. If you guys need to check that out, I wrote a whole blog post about it. It's like the health and nutrition program I follow. So I won this, which was really cool. So this is the first Yeti that I've owned. I just bought, they were ones for our volleyball players. It was Orca was the brand. I've heard that that's pretty cool. Don't know. All the seed company ones that I'm usually rocking, and now I have like a pretty one. Those all have kept my coffee really warm. But I would love to know, like, an Arctic, I think, is another one. Like RTIC is another one. Tell me your favorite coffee, insulated coffee mug brand, because I would love to know. And so Sherry, good morning. I'm so happy that you're here too. And of course, it's okay, Sherry Olson, you're late, but you're here. That's good. Good morning. Okay, there we go. Arctic, right? Is that how you say it? Arctic, like RTIC? That's a great brand. That I agree. It's good. I guess I'm just going to say, like, the Yeti brand, I don't know that I'm like, oh, it's the most amazing thing I've ever, I don't know if I noticed the difference. So you guys tell me what you think works. Okay, so let's start talking about small talk. So this was 3 years ago. My daughter Brinley, she's just over 1. So yeah, trying to think. She wasn't quite 1. So it was the summer of the year. So she would have been 10 months or something old. And my husband and I went to a Redhawks game, which is, for those of you that aren't familiar with the Fargo Moorhead Redhawks in Fargo, North Dakota, it's like the semi-pro team in Fargo. So always kind of a fun thing to do in the summertime. And with my husband and I, we took our 2 boys and then a little buddy of theirs. So we had quite a few children in tow, and we went to this game. So I was starting to see kind of a pattern of every time I made it to a Redhawks game, we always got a rain delay, which is super sucky, right? You end up, if it rains really hard, they end up like, doing an actual rain delay, and everybody has to come up onto the concourse, and you're just crowded with people. That was the first time when I was pregnant with our daughter that happened. This time it would like spit, and then people would kind of go up and go down. Well, that's what I was doing. And I was carrying my daughter because she was young, right? She was old enough to walk, but not real stable. So I was carrying her up and carrying her down, and literally just kind of losing my entire patience. Okay, hey Mal, I'm going to come back to your team. Poll or your comment. Let's see. Oh, and you tagged the person who engraved them. So it's super cool. Polar camel. Awesome. Okay. Thanks for that, friend. I love that. Okay. So I'm walking up and down, like I can see our kids, but I kept going up and getting under the canopy on the concourse to get away from the rain. I can keep seeing the boys, but I was just like not having it. And after multiple trips, and it was that humid, sticky, sweaty kind of weather where you're just, it was so humid and it was so hot and I was so bitchy, straight up. I was so bitchy. I was cranky. I was tired and I was annoyed. Okay. So not my best self, certainly didn't feel chatty. Okay. In this moment. And so for maybe the 10th time, I walk back up to the concourse, and literally at this point, I'm just breathing heavy to try to keep from just completely losing my shit. I was just so annoyed because my arms were tired, right? And it was just like a confluence of things where I was not who I normally am. And there's this couple, not an older couple, but like my parents' age, okay, standing next to me. And I looked over at them and just looked away. Like I didn't say anything to them. And the woman says, we watched you walk up and down, and it's got to be kind of frustrating. And because she opened with that, like I wasn't as reticent to speak to her. I said, oh my gosh, I'm like, I'm sure the crap, you know, the unhappiness is just wearing all over my face. I'm like, yeah, it's super annoying, whatever. And I said, and I'm starting to feel, so then I'm like, I warm up to her just a little bit. And I said, I'm starting to feel like every time I come to a Red Hawks game, we get a rain delay. And I said, it's just so frustrating. And she said, oh, she's like, I'm sorry, that's a bummer. Where are you from? Okay, so now we're getting into this, what we typically think of as small talk. Okay, this is what we think of, right? Like, where are you from? And I said, oh, I'm from Oaks. And she and her husband exchanged a quick little glance, and like we always do in for sure in North Dakota, and I would guess in most parts of the country, when you know somebody from that community, then right away you go, oh, hey, do you know? Okay, so they have this look. They look at me and they said, oh, we know a couple, or knew a couple. They kind of stumbled over that, from Oaks. I said, oh, really? I said, well, who are they? You know, there's a probably pretty solid chance I know them. Our town has 1,800 people in it. And then they exchanged this other look. And it was one of those things where I tend to think of myself as in tune with people. Like I tune into people and I empathize with people. And I could not figure out the look that they were exchanging between themselves. And he just kind of said, well, I don't really know, I guess. So it's the Hankels. So they say their last name. And I said, oh, okay. So at this point, that name, what it means to me is, well, a number of things. We know like all of them. But one particular family were really close. They're my parents' best friends. Okay. So I said, oh, well, which ones? And then there's that look again. And I suddenly realized what the look is. Okay. And he says, Lyle. We knew Lyle. And I said, you're kidding. Okay, so this couple, that's my parents' best friends. That's the husband. And he had passed away just over a year ago from cancer, from a battle with cancer, that we never, you know, it was such a story, and I wrote about him. If you guys want to actually read the blog post, maybe I'll link it in here for you, just telling you who this man was to our family. But they say, yeah, I said, well, how? I said, oh my gosh, like they were really close. They're my parents' best friends. I said, so how do you know them? And he said, I was in the military with Lyle. And now this is a part of Lyle's life that I knew very little about. He was my parents' best friend, right? So I said, oh, that's neat. You know, I said, you know, where were you? And he's like, you know, I just have to say that Lyle was the person that kept me from quitting. And I said, quitting the military? And he said, yeah, I met Lyle at basic training. We were at boot camp, basically. He said, and we were out on on one of our long jaunts. And he said, it was like the day where he said a number of people in our battalion actually quit that day. He said, we're out walking, we're carrying these really heavy backpacks. And so here you guys, like, a picture this. Yeah, Mal. So I wrote this in a blog post, and I thought I should just tell you guys in story form. So I'm standing there holding my baby girl, you know, holding her and looking at these people and just thinking about how blessed I felt that I had this moment with this complete stranger. And he starts to tell me that was a day that a lot of people quit. He said, we're carrying these really heavy backpacks. He said, and I sat down and I looked up, and Lyle stopped and he said, what are you doing? He said, I looked up at him and I said, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm done. And, okay. Hey, Molly. So for those of you that are just tuning in, I'm talking about small talk. Okay. So you're going to have to go back and actually hear this story to get the whole effect, but I want you to know exactly where we're at and what we're talking about. So he says, Lyle said, looked down at him and he said, to hell you are. And the guy, you know, he looks up and he said, I don't want to go on. And Lyle said, and I'm not letting you quit. So he said, Lyle picked up my backpack, handed me, you know, like put his hand out to me, lifted me up off the ground, and walked with me and carried my pack for me. the rest of the way. He said, I am a different man because I met him. And here I'm like already crying, like I'm crying, talking to this guy. And I'm thinking, oh my God, like what an amazing blessing. So this guy wasn't just my parents' best friend. I called him my fun dad. Like this man had a huge influence on my life. And it was so cool that I was in such a crappy state of mind. And then this moment happened where I got to, and by the end, I'm like hugging him and they're hugging me. And I was telling him, so I shared with him my story about Lyle and who he was to me. And that's the blog post I wrote about. It was called Blessings from My Fun Dad. And it was such a God moment, right? Like, and so when I walked away, I thought, my life was just completely changed because of this one moment. And it was because thankfully these people chose to engage me in conversation because I was like not having it. And from that day forward, I just decided, and I'm pretty much a small talker anyway. I like to make connections with people and I like to talk to people. But a lot of times a crappy attitude, if I'm having like a moment like that where I'm tired and I'm cranky and I'm sore and I'm whatever, it'll change me. It'll make me kind of shut down from other people. And so from that day forward, I just vowed. And when I shared the blog post that Mallory was referencing, that was what I said. It's just like, don't ever pass up the opportunity to make a connection with people. You have no idea the blessing that might come back to you for having done that. And it was just so powerful and it was just so cool. And it was a completely random opportunity, a random moment that I'm just so thankful that I got to have. So I think a couple of things are, and then, a couple other things besides just be open to small talk because there's really nothing small about it. And the second thing I would just encourage you as you go through your world and you go through your day-to-day is when you are touched like that by a moment, and especially if it involves somebody else, be sure to tell those other people the story. I wrote the blog post and immediately shared it with Lyle's wife, and that blog post went around Lyle's whole family because never want to forget the people that you love so much. And when new stories emerge that you didn't even know about, it's just such a cool way to keep the spirit of that person alive. So to honor Lyle, I'm going to share the Blessings from My Fun Dad blog post here so you guys can read that. And all I just want to encourage you to do is to be open to connection with other people because it's constant. There is the opportunity to experience that is constantly around us. And sometimes we just get too focused, too laser, it's like tunnel vision, what we're there to do, or if like you're like me and it's just a crappy mood and you're completely overwhelmed by a crappy mood. If you close yourself off, you're going to miss beautiful moments like the one that I had. So that's my story for you guys today. And that can happen anywhere. It can happen on Main Street where you live. It can happen in an airport. It can happen on an airplane. It can happen on the concourse of a baseball field. You just never know when a cool connection can happen. And so that's what I encourage you guys to do today is to look for those moments. Okay, so a couple quick things. This is the last week to register. Thursday is the registration deadline for the Big Life Retreat, the only virtual retreat that includes a physical box of stuff that was designed exclusively for women living in small towns. And so if you are a woman living in a small town, you have not checked out the information for the Big Life Retreat or you have not participated in one, this is the week I'm just going to straight out encourage you to go out and take a look at it. I am also going to do an Instagram story this week where I share a bit more about what BIG, so BIG is an acronym, what the framework looks like, what we actually do in the retreat, because honestly, it is all of the concerns that anybody might have had before joining, because I've held 2 of them now, like who can sit for 4 hours? Who can sit for 4 hours on a video like this? The time flies by because it's a mix of this face-to-face dynamic and then a mix of you going and doing work. The physical box of stuff, that everything in the box complements the work that we're doing. It makes it feel like a real retreat, like you're actually in time and space with the people that are there. And so it really is unlike anything I've ever created. I had those same concerns, like, what if this sucks? Which is, I'm sorry, but if you are a creator of anything, every time you put something out into the world, that's the fear, right? What if it's not good? What if nobody likes it? But it was good, friends. It was really, really good. And I just want to bless more of you with the opportunity because it's so enriching and so good. So please take a look. I'm going to post the link here for you. And again, like my whole thing is, whatever your hesitation is, if you have a question about it, all you got to do is ask me. Send me a message, send me a text, call me on the phone. And I would love to talk it out with you because I know that there's a lot of times those hesitations of just like, is it right for me? Will I get what I need out of it? Those are valid questions. And so if you think I can help you answer some of those, then please, you got to ask and I'd be happy to help you. Okay, so that is what I've got for you guys this week. Hey, Cheryl. Oh, that's so lovely. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I love you guys so much. I love spending my Monday mornings with you, and I hope that you are blessed by our time together too, because that's how I feel. It's just the best way to kick off the day. Okay, so that's what your job is, to go check out the Big Life Retreat. And of course, register. If you need any information about whether it's right for you or not, all you got to do is ask. Okay? All right, friends. I hope you guys have an amazing day, and look for those connections this week because they are literally everywhere. Okay? Have a great day. Have a great week. Groove on. Okay? We'll see you guys soon.